Right, I'm back now. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start colouring the petals, and the colours that I'm going to use iced coffee from Edible Art. I'm going to use rich burgundy from Edible Art for the back of the petals, and then for the green at the base of the petals I've used, I think this one's Racing Green. Yeah, that's Racing Green is that one, which is a bit lighter green than the Ginkgo that I tend to use a lot of. That's the colour of that. You can go onto their website and see all the colours on there. It's Edible Art World of Colour.co.uk, and they do a massive range of colours. So those are the three colours that I'm going to use. Like always, I have separate brushes for each thing that I'm going to do. I've got one that I'm using for the iced coffee, which actually is a lustre colour. It's one of the shiny ones, if you like the lustre colours. And then I've got one for my red, and then I've got one for my green. So I'm going to start off with the front of the petals. I've got two here. So we start off with the iced coffee. So onto your brush, off your brush, and then cut from the top edge, brush down. I'm leaving a little bit of white just at the base. That's where the green's going to go. Like that. Just pop those to one side, get rid of that brush. Onto the burgundy. If you get it off your brush, because if you get specks of colour where you don't want it to be, it's difficult to get rid of because it stains, especially when you're using darker colours like this. So we're on the back now, and again I'm going to brush all the way down from the top edge, just leaving that little bit of white right at the base of the petals, like that. When you put it on your paper, if you try and keep the edge of your petals within that there where I've touched the thing, so you don't get it on the front. I have actually got some on the front of some of my other petals that I've already made. And the other thing that I'm going to do now is, once I've done the back of it, I'm just going to go around the edge, and I'm just going to catch the edge. I'm not going over it, I'm just right on the very, very, very edge. I'm going round with that red because I want a little bit of it to be seen on the front of the petals. So if you just make sure you've got right up to the edge like that, and then just go over the edge. If I do it on the front like this and show you, all I'm doing is just catching the edge. A bit like when I've done roses, the only difference is that I come over a little bit with roses when I'm putting colour on the edge. Right, so that's those done. Green. So again, a little bit of green. And all I'm going to do is just brush from the very base of the petals like that with a little bit of green, just in that white bit, like that. If you get any loose powder on, blow it off straight away because it will stain if you're not careful. Just try not to. If you get it on your brush and then off your brush onto your paper like that, it's better to have a little bit on, and then you can always brush it and then go over it again if it's not deep enough. But you can't take it off once you've got it on there. Right, so we'll just get rid of those now. Right, I've got some more petals that I've already coloured here. And the centre that I did earlier, which is all stiffened up now. That one that I did. Like that. Now if you wanted to at this stage, you could put there is like a bit on the inside which is green. So if you did it with a small daisy cutter, and then what you do is then you thin your edges as normal, and then you, with tweezers near the base of the petal, you tweak it in so you end up with sort of like a long piece with the loop on the end, and you can go into it with a bowl tool if you want. But to be quite honest, most people wouldn't even notice that, and it can split and all sorts because of the back here. And if you're using bought stamens, it does split. That's one of the reasons why I don't use it, because you have to use a full bunch to do it. So away from that, so what I'm going to do now is going to go back to the tape, and I'm using the darker green for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that onto a 20 gauge wire now, because that is going to form the main stem. Is that a 20 gauge? No, it isn't. I thought I had one out there for a minute. And I haven't got any in there. So I'll use a 22, it's near enough. As long as you've got something a bit stronger, but I've got all the different sizes here. I mean, normally most of my students only have the sizes that I use on whatever project we're doing, so they wouldn't have all these other different sizes, but this is the next size down. So what I'm going to do is cut that into 3. So it's the same length as we would do if we were doing roses or carnations or anything like that. So if you start off with your tape on your wire, whenever you're going to attach anything to a wire, it's a good idea to get it started on the wire first and then add whatever you're going to do, whether it's stamens for the centre of a flower or whatever else you're going to do, like I did with the filler flowers. If you go to my rose video, which is there's 6 of them, because I've gone right from beginning to end with a lot of different stages in that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start that below where the cotton was taped onto the wire, because I'm going to come higher up with the petals, but I just want to attach the wire for now and then tape down. You only need to go down to the bottom of your wire with your stamens like that and take that off. You don't need to go all the way down. Sorry, that's my timer from the last video. Right, and then go and start with your tape right underneath your stamens there, underneath the thick part where you've attached your cotton, and it's stickier on the other side. Turn it over. If it's sticking to your finger like that, you've got it the wrong way around, because one side is stickier than the other. So what you need to do now is, if you put your petals on the edge of your finger and then bend your wires down like that. So if you do that on all of your petals, the reason for that is because you can bend it down without breaking the petals. You're basically putting a little bit of support behind the petal itself. So you don't want to break them when you've gone to all this trouble, otherwise you're going to go back and make them all again, haven't you? Like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 3 petals in to start off with. For those that haven't watched me before, if I've gone off camera at any point in time, I forget sometimes to try and keep it under the camera, because I don't have a camera person to film all this. I'm doing it myself, so I do have a habit of going out of shot, as they call it in the profession. Pull your wires down to make sure that your petals are tight down to your thing, and I've just pulled some of my stamens down there, so you'll just get a brush in there just to get that back in. That's it. And then tape down. The reason I'm taping down is so that when you put the next 3 petals in, they're going to grip a bit better. So I'm just going to tape down to the bottom of where the wires finish there. Come back up, start your tape again underneath your petals, like that. Don't forget to stretch your tape, pull with your right hand and twist with your left hand when you're doing this. If you're left-handed, then the other way around. Then we're going to put the next 3 petals in behind the first set of petals, like that. Don't worry if they move around at this stage, you can adjust them once you've got them all in. And if you've got your petals rounded at the bottom, you can see that they fit round the base of your flower, like that. You can see that. Last one in, like that. So they should just fit round the base of the others. This is the same principle that I used in the lily video that I did. And then once you've got them all in, start taping down, then get your wires, pull them down to make sure that they're nice and tight. This stops your petals from moving around. So a lot of my students said, oh, they're all moving around, why are they doing that and won't stay put and all that. It's because you're not getting your white ear tape tight enough. That's the reason. And then tape all the way down to the bottom like that, and then you can adjust your petals then to make sure you've got them in the right position like that. And there we have a hellebore. I don't bother with the calyx on the back of flowers like that. That's why I've brushed the green at the bottom, because people aren't looking at the back of the flowers anyway. If you were doing a competition, that's a different thing altogether. But when you're doing to put on a cake, then you need to make things as quick as you can, because time is money, and the more time it takes you to do something, then the more you have to charge for it. And sometimes customers don't understand that. So there we are, that's your hellebore. So now I've done a few hellebores here ready, and if you wanted to make a spray up just of hellebores, they would make quite a nice spray. If you wanted to do the hellebore leaves, which I'm not doing for this project, then the leaves are basically like a hand, 5-pointed leaves, but as I say, I'm not doing them for this project. So there we are, those are my hellebores, and you can steam these afterwards, but just don't get too much steaming, because obviously the hairspray is going to melt and your petals, your stamens are going to fall about if you do that. So just be careful with that when you're steaming them to set your colours. And I hope you've enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next video where I'm going to do holly. So see you soon, take care and stay safe.